Welcome back, everyone, and good morning. You are with Christina and Bobby and Breakfast with Bobby. We're always having a fun time. We have no idea what we're going to talk about, and you're just along for the ride. But as long as you're along for the ride, hit that subscribe button, ring the bell so you get notifications of when we post a new podcast. Our goal is to post a new podcast every week, and hopefully we will be able to keep up with that. So, with that, here's my friend Bobby.
Well, good morning, everybody. It's such a pleasure to be here again. And as Christina mentioned, we've been friends for quite a long time. And even when we go out to breakfast, when we used to go out to breakfast at the truck stop, we never knew what we were going to say. And we don't know what we're saying today either. So stay tuned because this could be exciting and maybe it could be boring. I don't know.
I don't know either. But it's never been boring, so
It's
why would
never.
we start now?
Well, that was just kind of a random threat that, it could
Yeah,
happen,
it
but
could happen.
not usually.
Not
So.
usually, yeah, unless you're like a 15-year-old boy and you don't care what two old ladies have to say, which is fine. Find another podcast
Oh, I'm pretty sure we could think of something to say with
that would embarrass
boy.
them, make them turn red.
Maybe. Yeah. They might even just get up and walk out of the restaurant.
They could. Yeah.
So what's new with you? What have you been doing? And
I
tell me.
have been learning. This old dog is learning new tricks. So, well, I'm doing the post production on this podcast. I also do the post production on my other podcast with my other Bobby, Bobby
There's
Resnick
two.
Culkins. And that one is Red Road Paranormal Podcast. And
Mhm.
I do all the recording and post production on that one too. So I am learning how to record, edit, post,
Is
YouTube
it hard?
and podcast. I'm not the most technically minded person, so sequencing is kind of a challenge for me since I had a stroke in 2024 or 2004, not 24. So it's almost 20 years ago now, and sequencing has been a struggle with me since then. So I'm really challenging my brain to learn new things and to learn how to create those new neural pathways. So,
As you get older, things just don't work like they used to. I used to be
no.
a lot smarter, I'm gonna say.
But now we might not be as smart, but we are wiser
Right. If
because
you
that's how
can.
the brain changes as we get older.
Mhm. Yeah, I think something you just got to really think about things to go through the progression. And I
Mhm.
can't imagine doing what you do, and then you're traveling around on the weekends and doing psychic revival things and soul retrievals and all of that. And I think it keeps you young.
I think so. I think so. I I don't know how young I look, but I feel young. So, um, and I don't even care that I don't look young because nobody expected me to live this long. You
Hmm.
know,
How
after
so? Explain that. I don't.
um, I was pretty
Like yourself?
self-destructive as a
Oh,
teenager. My family literally took bets on how long it would take me to accidentally kill myself. Yeah. Nice family I have,
well,
huh?
I think I should have been dead a couple of times myself.
Yeah.
And no matter what they say, your parents can tell you all kinds of stuff, but until you learn it yourself or get old enough to go, oh yeah, the light finally went on.
Yeah.
I just turned 66 on Monday, and so look at how smart I am today.
Yeah. Happy birthday.
Well, thank you.
We usually
Yeah,
go to breakfast for your birthday. We haven't done that yet.
we do. Well, it's been a little busy couple of days, and
Yeah.
since we got how much snow did you get? We got like 8 inches here.
Oh, wow. No, we only got about 4.
Oh, it must be in the snow belt.
Yeah.
That crazy twirling thing that leaves all the snow there.
And let's just for those who might be listening to us and have no idea where we are. We live like maybe 30 minutes from each other. I don't even think it's that far.
Well, you live near the lake. You live
I do
on,
live near
yeah,
Lake Michigan. Yeah, I'm about 10 minutes west of Lake
yeah.
Michigan.
That has a
Yeah.
lot to do with how
I always
things.
thought that would mean more snow, but apparently it means less.
Yeah, sometimes it's a lake effect thing, and other times you don't get anything. So,
Yeah.
it's a beautiful day.
Hmm.
I may have to go outside and walk through the snow and put my big tall boots on,
Me
but
too.
it's
Well,
such a calming energy out there. And
snow makes everything so much more quiet.
doesn't
I
it?
like that. Yeah,
I do too. You
I
can hear
like
the
that.
squirrels and the birds chirping. And I remember
Hmm.
100 years ago, and I say this fictitiously, but back in the day, I think it probably 30 years ago or so, I took a class at River Edge Nature Center up in Saukville. And the guy who was teaching the class was, probably my age now,
Yeah.
in his 60s. And he, part of our deal was on Fridays, he would take us for a jaunt outside. River Edge had hundreds of acres and on the Wisconsin River. Um, and he said to us, make sure that you dress warm. And the guy always came with this wool suit on. And he said to us, we are never coming inside. I will never be cold. And so that was our tip, that you needed to dress warm. So I went out and I bought this huge coat, that
Yeah.
probably was good for Antarctica, but I was never cold either. So it worked for me.
Your camera keeps jiggling. What is going on
Oh, I'm
there?
so sorry. Well, I should stop touching the desk, and I'll be my good little girl sitting here. And
Oh, that would be weird.
okay, sorry. We were, no, we're not having an earthquake. We live in Wisconsin.
Yeah. Well, there was recently an earthquake in Wisconsin. Last week, I think it was. It was like a 2 point something on the Richter scale up north somewhere.
No kidding.
Yeah. I remember seeing a new, like a headline flash about it. I don't watch the news. I haven't watched the news in decades, but I saw
Mm.
like online, you pop up your online screen and then there's like headlines and it was in there that there was a kind of a
I knew
small,
of something in Indiana, but not here.
yeah,
So, is my
weird,
camera
huh?
still jiggling? It is.
Yeah, it is.
I'm not
What is
touching
with your
it.
camera? It just wants to talk. Maybe somebody is just there wiggling your camera.
Maybe there's somebody that has a message. You never know.
Never know.
And the message might be just shut up and stop moving around.
Well,
He's
I don't
very
know. My
busy.
kid is usually messing around with my environment. Maybe he's messing with me by messing with your environment.
Oh, that's great. All right, you guys, that's enough now. I have enough spirits around here too.
Yeah, there have been a couple of times when I've been interviewed. Like I remember one time, Nick Sarlo from Shadowhunters was interviewing me and my background kept moving. Like you could see like um, you know how in movies like they present like the invisible man, but you can still see kind of the disturbance in the air. Yeah, that's
Mm,
what was walking around behind my chair. Something
great.
like that. Yeah, and I'm like, "Logan, you little stinker." And then I heard him laughing and a
Oh,
black spider went across the wall.
shut up.
Like, oh man, he was messing with me that day. But he's also friends with Nick. So he was kind of like trying to get Nick's attention too. So
Well, that spider thing, that is just not cool.
no, that's just not cool because I never saw it again. Don't know where it went. That bothers me.
Right? And you're hoping that was a spirit too, aren't you?
I am.
I would be.
Really hoping. Yes.
Yeah, I've
Wow.
living here in the country, you never know what you're going to find, but I've been bit by a couple of spiders.
Yeah.
Actually, the same type of spider.
Hmm.
And it was very painful. And when I belong to a bug group on Facebook, and it's an identification type of thing. And I can't tell you, the majority of times it's always about what type of spider is this. And
Hmm.
there are some times that I just can't even touch the screen. It just freaks me out.
Uh-huh. Yeah, me too.
Talk about a phobia.
Yeah, I don't belong to that group for a reason. Because, no. But I have been bit by a spider too, I mean, where it's like literally left like a hole in my leg, that had to
Oh
heal
yes.
up. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
my very first one, I was outside gardening and I was picking up, litter like leaves and stuff, and I pulled it close to my body. And a couple of days later, I had to go in for a breast exam, and the lady, I said, just be careful about this, and she went, oh, and brought it up on the screen, and she said, that's what that is, and she told me what kind of spider it was. Well, it swelled up like a baseball. He left his fang in there, and
Ugh.
that the interesting thing now. back in the day, I used to work for the Medical College in Wisconsin where they know everything about everything or should,
Mm-hmm.
the research and all of that kind of stuff. And I went to the urgent care and the doctor looked at me and he said, "What is that?" And I went, "Well, I'm in the right place,
I'm not in the right
Just
place,
glad you
exactly.
wrote me."
I went to the wrong place to get my answers.
Oh, God. Yeah, 10 days
Wow.
of antibiotics, that'll take care of pretty much everything.
Yeah.
And a year later, I did the very same thing and I had another one. But what happens is when they bite you, they inject some kind of solution, some venom or whatever, and it actually necrotizes the skin. So they're really trying, because that's what it does to the bugs, or
Right.
whatever they're trying to eat, it kills them
Yeah.
and dissolves their innards so that they can eat them better. So
That's
whatever.
that's lovely. This is a very different conversation than last week, isn't it?
Well, again, you never know what you're going to get here.
You never know. So
It starts out really well and just tanks from there, and you just put up with it.
it really does. Well, it did this time. It doesn't always tank. I just want to put that out there. Like, not every show is going to be about
Well,
spider bites. So,
that's true. Thanks. I promise. I promise, because I really don't want to talk about that either.
I really don't either. So, what's new with you the last few days?
Oh gosh, the outside, the 7, 8 inches of snow and all of that has been interesting. You know, I this is not really. I found um, uh, this is kind of odd. I'm a shopper and I love
Mm-hmm.
to cook and make food and stuff. And I found this type of chicken. It's called smart chicken. And there are very few stores that sell a whole chicken. You can find smart chicken. Most of the time it's skinless. Um, but I found a whole chicken and I made soup with it. This was about a year ago or so. And it made the best old-fashioned chicken soup, just like, when your mom used to make it or you used to make it at home. You didn't have to add anything to the broth to get it to taste like chicken. And I made one of those the other day again. And it was, the Kluski noodles, because that's what my dad used to use. It was that old-fashioned Croatian thing, and my mom used to put egg dumplings in the soup, but this soup turned out really, really well. And so being outside and snowy and all that, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to make some soup. So I didn't have the chicken anymore. So I made braised short ribs, beef short ribs for dinner last night. They turned out well too.
Awesome. I'm trying to remember if I ate last night.
Well, I always mind about people that forget if they ate.
Um, I'm trying to think. What did I think I had leftover? I had baked chicken from the day before that, so I had some leftovers with wild rice last night. That was really good.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, there's sometimes I take chicken pieces and coat it with a thin layer of mayonnaise and then
Okay.
crushed Rice Krispies
Oh,
with salt and pepper and all that, and then you bake it. That makes a really nice crust on the chicken.
yeah. I've seen people do that with cornflakes too.
Yeah, you
Crush
can.
up the,
Yeah,
yeah.
I was taught to use the Rice Krispies, and they're kind of bland, and you can add whatever spice you want on them.
Right.
Very
Right.
nice. Nice.
Yeah.
So now that we've really gone to a direction that we've never gone before,
Yeah, I don't think we've ever talked about cooking.
we
Although you're
haven't.
an amazing baker and I love your baked goods. My husband is still complaining. I'm not even kidding you. Almost 11 years later, still complaining he never got a piece of the wedding cake.
I did not know that.
I didn't know that for like a year, but now he's like every once in a while he still brings up that he never got a piece of the wedding cake that you made.
Am I gonna have to make another one or
Oh,
something?
I don't
Something
know.
close? I think it was just regular buttercream, wasn't it? With
I think so,
a
but it
yellow.
was delicious. I know there was some like strawberry or raspberry or something in between the
Oh,
layers.
it had a filling. Okay.
Yeah.
How long
Yeah.
ago was that? 11 years?
It'd be 11 years in March.
Hmm.
Well, actually, the reception was in July, so 11
Okay.
years in July since you did the cake. But yeah, we got married at the end of March, but we didn't have the reception till July.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah, I think it was a French vanilla. uh, with the filling, and then just the regular buttercream, because buttercream pulls up really well in hot weather.
Yeah.
The last thing you want is for it to be melting off the cake.
I just want you to know I bow to your memory.
Of what?
I couldn't
That I
remember
have
what I
one?
ate for dinner last night, and you remembered what you put in a cake 11 years ago.
Oh, that's funny. That is kind of a miracle, isn't it?
That is kind of a miracle.
Well, I think because I've heard this, we've had this discussion about the memory of that cake. And
Hmm.
it's just a large 10-inch, I think, wasn't it?
It was big. It was heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a big cake, but yeah, people are still talking about it. Like,
Wow.
yeah,
And it
family
wasn't
members
even
and
my cheesecake
friends.
or anything. Hmm.
No, people are still talking about that wedding cake that you did.
Well, that's kind of amazing.
I wonder how many comments we're going to get asking for your contact information.
No, I don't ship to any other country or the United States. Although I did. I shipped a cheesecake one time. It was a blueberry cheesecake. Um, I shipped it to Missouri, I want to say. It
Mm,
cost more to ship the cake with dry ice and all of that than the cake was worth.
yeah. Wow.
So it can be done.
It can be done.
Not well, but I mean, she didn't complain. It was still in one piece when she got it. So
Wow.
yeah, so
Wow.
that's it. I made a flourless chocolate cake for something just recently, and it was like a little Christmas party, and because it's kind of a truffly type of flavor,
Hmm.
and you just sort of want to wear it because you don't want to let it go.
Yeah.
Um, and then it's got some kind of either chocolate frosting on it, or what I do is like a whipped cream, um,
Ooh, that sounds
and
good.
fresh strawberries. That works really well too.
Yeah, that sounds really good. I am moving away from grains again. My body just doesn't like grains. So I'm moving more into, I've been doing a lot more baking with almond flour.
What do you do with that? Is it they're getting better, I think, with the recipes and stuff,
They
but
are.
all in all, it's a little more dense, I think.
It is, but it's interesting because I don't, it's like the roots of tropical plants or something that they grind up to make the um I don't have any of those words in front of me, but I know that they're in the ingredients list. Uh, but it holds it together better because almond flour doesn't hold together well.
Oh, like xanthan gum or something
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, that
special.
holds it
Yeah.
together. But I mean, it doesn't taste like the baked goods do that are made with typical flour, but I've
Mm.
adjusted to it and I like them. So,
I found a recipe, and it was a long, drawn out way that I found the recipe. Something failed before that, and I was looking for, anyway, it turned out to be a vegan cookie that had um, brown sugar and trail mix and
oh,
one egg white. And the cookies turned out, and they were so good. I have a friend that marketed her own. She's got like a patent on this. It's called Stupid Good Food, I think, and nut butter. She makes nut butters. And I added some of that. It was like a snickerdoodle nut butter, and it
ooh.
made the cookie. It was just, the people around me don't really get into the vegan stuff, and they're pretty much a, meat and potatoes kind of thing.
Well, we
And
do live in Wisconsin. That's kind
we
of the
do,
thing.
and the
Yeah,
cheese and all of that, dairy, all that. But
yeah.
the cookies turned out really well, and I was really all that to put it together was that one little egg white. So, and you can add any kind of trail mix you want, but it was
Hmm.
pretty good because it had chocolate in it as well.
Well,
Chocolate.
chocolate's always good.
And I just feel sorry for those people that don't like chocolate.
Yeah,
You
me
know,
too. I mean, really,
wow.
what do you do?
What do you do for fun? Holy
Like,
cow.
seriously.
That's disappointing.
What do you do when you need comfort food and you don't like chocolate? What do you eat?
Don't tell
I,
me noodles. Noodles is, ooh. But it could be, that
could be. I mean,
definitely could
everybody
be.
has their own comfort thing, right? So,
So I told you a while ago that I resurrected my inner child, right?
yes.
And I'm telling you this for a reason, because the very first day that I woke up with my inner child and, cajoled her and cuddled with her and all that kind of stuff. I asked her what she wanted to do. And the first of all, I watched cartoons, which was something I never do. So that was interesting. But I had macaroni and cheese for lunch, that old
Oh,
fashioned Kraft macaroni and cheese. That's a comfort food, and only your inner
mm-hmm.
child will appreciate that.
Yes,
So,
Kraft macaroni and cheese can definitely be a comfort food.
mm,
Never mind the discomfort it causes me afterwards because I ate the noodles. But anyway, that's my own
yeah,
issue. Yeah. Uh,
she was happy.
as long as she's happy, hey,
Right. Because, if
yeah,
Bobby's little child ain't happy, ain't nobody happy.
bingo.
Right.
Christina's little child too. Yeah.
Yeah. It goes for the big child also.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
Yes, it does. So, what are some new things that you're doing? I mean, I talked about, last time I think it was I talked about the all I'm learning about with podcasting and post-production and all of that. What are you learning these days? Because I know we
well,
talk about learning a lot.
I continue to learn more about, I know this is going to freak you out, but there's two things I'm learning. One of them is trading stocks, how to do that better. And
Okay.
there's certain patterns and all of that. And there's a lot to learn on that. But the other thing, I'm learning how to manifest money.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Think that's something a lot of us have been working on. Yeah. So
I
how are you doing it?
it's about a meditation, and you put yourself in a certain place. Well, first of all, it's kind of a dropping into your heart, asking for permission type of thing, and allowing it to happen. It's about allowing, knowing that you deserve it and that you are entitled to it. Hypothetically, I don't want to use entitled because that's a crazy word. Um,
It's a loaded word for sure.
it is, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So giving yourself permission, which is a big deal. When I started learning um, psychometry, we'll call it psychometry today,
Okay.
reading articles and reading energy.
Mm-hmm.
One of my teachers said, you know things, but you kind of have to give yourself permission to know it, because sometimes you just think you're full of shit and
Right.
you're like, I can't possibly know that, or that's not true, or whatever. And so you discount a lot of what you already know.
Mm-hmm.
So giving yourself permission on all of that is a big deal. Once you release that and you give yourself permission, things go a whole lot better, and they
Yeah.
go a whole lot faster, and you know things anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and you know what? If you have a bad feeling about something, follow that.
Yeah.
That's important. Because it'll go south quickly.
Yes.
And then you say to yourself, damn, I knew that. I should have stopped. So, and some of that kind of feeds back into my stock trading and stuff. And some,
Mm-hmm.
when I have a mentor with that, and he called me up one day and asked, how I pick stocks. And I said, well, sometimes I have a feeling. And he said, you have a feeling? He said, are you intuitive? And I said, I think so, a little. And he said, okay. And that kind of developed this relationship with him, that he's way more spiritual than I ever anticipated for a wealth coach kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of about trusting yourself and being grounded and connecting. And I know I've talked to you a lot about in the past about this energetic field of, it's called a 2-point connection. And the first
Mm-hmm.
piece of that is in your heart. And
Right.
so you connect from your heart to somewhere else, whether it be outside of your body, or, in the earth, or to a thing, and just following the energy. And so when the energy matches up, this, in the match, there's, torsion fields this way and that
Right.
way. And then right in the middle, there's something that's where nothing happens. And other than no thing happening, meaning a positive or negative, that's where the miracles happen, because there's no real nothing there.
Right. There's no pull either way. Yeah.
That's correct. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
neither positive nor negative. So you just kind of leave it there in the field.
I'm gonna try that. I'm
It's,
gonna try that meditation.
you know, um, and you never know that it worked until it works,
Right.
because you're again, thinking that you're full of shit. But some miracles really show up quickly about that.
Mhm.
Um, I I was in a restaurant one time and someone had canceled for lunch and this big drawn out process of all of this. But I asked for a miracle. Someone mentioned to me one time that um, you can ask your angels and your guides for things, and you should,
Mhm.
because they won't show up for you unless you ask, because they're really not allowed to step into your situations unless you ask. So
Right.
I thought, what you have to do is ask for a surprise, and you kind of have to be a little, maybe sometimes be specific, but know that if you're asking for something specific, then it may take a little bit longer to show up because the universe is trying to find that.
Mhm.
So if you ask for a surprise on, maybe a financial surprise or whatever, um, it may show up quicker than you expect. And you have to appreciate whatever it is that shows up. Be grateful. Whether it be a small, don't think that you're going to win the lottery of $20 million, but even
Why
if you
not?
find a bill,
I mean,
well,
the universe doesn't care what the number is, right?
well, that's true. But if you're asking for the number, you
Yeah.
kind of got to get in line.
Yeah,
So
you have to be in line with what you're asking for energetically. I totally get that. Yeah.
yes, yes, you have to match the vibration.
Mhm.
So I was asking, and again, in this disappointment of my friend canceling for lunch, something showed up that I had this parking space that was free, and I thought, well, that must be the surprise. And then
Mhm.
something else showed up, and I thought, well, I'm sure. Anyway, at the end of my lunch, I realized that through all of this nonsense, that all of a sudden my lunch was free. And I thought, you've been looking at all of these other things all this while, and it's really the fact that all of these things showed up for you in a number of ways, and
Mhm.
you're discounting, oh, that's not it, that's not it, oh, maybe that's it. But it was almost like they paid me to be there. It was the craziest thing. So you never
Yeah.
know what's going to happen, but ask.
I had a similar thing actually in November when I did that fair in upstate New York. And my friend Jen went with me. We traveled together. It was a bunch of crazy adventures. Like it just like we were thinking we should write a children's book of crazy adventures because this stuff just doesn't happen. So the first thing was that we were taken. My GPS took me onto a back way onto a military base.
Great.
We were not supposed to be there.
Wow. I
But
don't
I'm
know.
like, I have taken this route so many times, and I knew that wasn't the correct turn, but that's where it took me. And then all of a sudden the road stopped on the GPS on the GPS map, and I'm like, I'm not going that far. And when I turned around to go back off of the military base, there were two desert Humvees coming at us. And I'm like, I'm not stopping. I am not stopping. And we just kept going. But like the whole time we're wondering, wow, I wonder why that happened. That is so weird. And then after that, it was like one miracle after another, after another, after another, after another, the whole trip, including somebody buying us dinner. We don't even know who did it.
Wow.
On the last day before we were going to leave, somebody else paid for our dinner. We got into the parking ramp for the hotel where the event was, and she's a crystal person, right? So she had like her SUV was stuffed full of all of her stuff for her booth. And she's like, oh man, it's going to take us forever to get this in. And all of a sudden, we didn't see him walk in. We didn't hear him walk in. All of a sudden, there's a young man with a cart going, how can I help you? Like,
Beyond help is what you said, right?
we're like,
Oh
thank you. Thank you is what we said. Thank you.
my gosh.
But we had on the way there, we had gone to see the Eternal Flame. I don't know if you know what that is, but it's a fissure in the rocks in western New York. It's south
Yeah.
of Niagara Falls, south of Buffalo. It's on the other side of 94. And it's a fissure in the rocks that is lit. and it's a fire behind a waterfall,
Hmm.
and it is stunning. And we stopped and hiked down to that and took pictures, and I was like, God, how does it get better than this? This is so amazing, right? And Logan and I had talked about that on our show, on our radio show last year. Well, God, longer ago, like a year and a half ago.
Hmm.
And as an anomaly kind of thing. And then we went from there to Niagara Falls. She'd never seen Niagara Falls. So we stayed in this fancy casino hotel on the 18th floor overlooking the falls. Paid next to nothing for the room. I mean, I think it was less than $100
Hmm.
for this beautiful room overlooking Niagara Falls. We went and saw the falls at night. We went the next day, saw them during the day, and then we headed on over to Saranac Lake where we were headed. But it was just like one magical thing after another for the whole trip until we got home and found out we both had COVID.
Oh, geez. So they were preparing you. You had another
Apparently.
reward
But
before you.
the whole thing was just, we had just put out this, we are just out to have a good time. We're going to have fun with this. It's a business trip. It doesn't matter. We're going to have fun with it. And we did. We had fun. We had just one thing after another that was just miraculous. After we got off that military base, it was like, I still have not yet gotten an answer as to why we were there.
Sometimes I don't know about those GPSs. Sometimes they take you places.
I had one take
Yeah.
me on a snowmobile trail one time in a van. So, yeah,
Oh, wow.
yeah,
So the fact that you asked for a really good time,
yeah.
this, I remember I told you about the 2-point connection and asking and all of
Mhm.
that kind of stuff when you drop into your heart. So the whole premise of the 2-point connection is dropping into your heart,
Mhm.
asking for what you want
Mhm.
and, your intention, and then letting it go. So
Yeah.
you guys are really good manifestors and did what you were, you didn't even know what you were doing, and it did well.
Yeah.
And I think anybody else can do that as well. That's the point of manifestation.
I think
Um,
so too. And letting go of what it's going to look like.
right,
Like
right.
like your story with the restaurant,
Yeah,
yeah, you let go of what the surprise was going to be,
yeah. And if
you know.
you get stuck in that, what it's supposed to look like, then it takes a while for the universe to pick that out and to show up. And sometimes it doesn't,
Mhm.
because you're so stuck in the way it is that it doesn't have time to find it, or it's just too much, or it's just not available. So
Right. Or you've moved on to something else, or, shifted your
yeah,
energy around it, or
sure,
yeah,
sure.
yeah. It's about momentum, as Abraham Hicks would say. The momentum that you have going in your thought and feeling process. Yeah.
I like that. There is a book, the 5 people that it's about 5 people that you met, that you made the biggest impression on. Did you ever hear of that book?
Yeah,
And I think
it's
there was a movie about it.
I think it's called like the five people you meet in heaven or something.
Okay. I don't recall. That doesn't sound, but it doesn't
I don't
matter.
know. Could be a different
Um,
book.
and the things that the people you think you made an impression on or
Hmm.
whatever, those aren't the people that were kind of reflected in the book. It's people that you don't even know that you made
Yeah.
an impression on. Um, you have an effect on a lot of people, and your energy is out there. Do you remember that you were doing a class, and it was we were using divining rods, and about your aura, how far out your aura
Oh
is?
yeah, our energy fields. Yeah, and how far they
Yes,
go out. That's part of the intuitive you class. Yeah.
yes. I think I still have those divining rods, whatever those little hanger things.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that you uh, kind of half-ass scolded me a little bit because my energy field is out there all the time. But that's how I survive. I mean, it's probably not a wonderful thing all the time, but my senses are always out there trying to,
Mm-hmm.
feel what's going on, and am I in danger? Am I safe? That kind of stuff. Do I feel like I can trust this area? But
I
I
think
barely,
that's a survival skill, but it's also a necessary for survival skill as long as we are in physical bodies. And as long as we are women, we really have to be more
yeah.
aware of what's going on around us. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
I, I think too. about, leaving your energy hanging out there.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people don't know that when your aura is out there and your energy field is out there, you feel other people's stuff.
All the
And so
time.
sometimes when you pull that back in, you're not even sure where it's coming from and you
Mm-hmm.
think that it's yours.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I bought a brooch one time at a estate sale or whatever, and it was, pretty ornate and stuff. And I had it on my lapel and I was at work. And we went out to lunch and I kept smelling like, what is this old smell? It was like, the older adult smell, the nursing
Mm-hmm.
home, the moldy, musty kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That's what I was smelling. And it was like, why do I smell this? But that too, that particular brooch had some energy on it and it came with a being. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes that too, the energy around that stuff. People don't know that the older things that they buy too sometimes comes home with energy that they're
Oh,
not
for
aware
sure. For sure. My thing with an energy field isn't so much that it's bad that it's out there, it's to be aware of where it is. And to when we have awareness of where our energy field is, we have the option to pull it in closer.
Yes.
So it's really about awareness and choice. Where am I choosing to put my energy? You know,
Okay.
and if I go into a place like a grocery store and it's busy, I
Yeah.
pull my energy in because I don't want to feel everybody in there. I'm very empathic. I don't
Yeah.
want to feel everybody's last argument, their frustration with their job, their financial frustrations, the, the kids. I don't want to feel all that stuff that other people are feeling. So I pull my energy into about 18 inches around my body. And I figure that's pretty close. If someone is going to get that close to me, they better have an invitation. you
Yeah.
know, you know what I'm saying? So, but for me, it's a matter of just managing my own energy because I don't necessarily want my energy all the way out there, 30 feet from my body in all directions,
Mhm.
just absorbing other people's energy.
Mhm.
And they probably don't want to be absorbing my energy either, you know, just
Why
because
not?
just because it's not theirs.
I know. Well, darn it all. I think it's a pretty good energy, for God's sakes. Why wouldn't
Well, I
everybody?
think it's a pretty good energy too, but that doesn't mean other people want me to force it on them.
I agree.
So, but
Right.
I think that we are not taught ever about our own energy fields and how everything
Right.
is. I mean, in sixth grade science, oh yeah, everything is made of energy. You can't recreate it and it can't be destroyed. But you know what? It can be manipulated.
Yeah, that's a whole nother story. That
And
manipulation thing.
yeah, it can be
Wow.
manipulated by feelings,
Yes.
especially,
Yeah.
so
What do you
yeah.
where are you on the concept of like psychic attacks and all of that?
I think it can happen. I don't think it happens as often as people think it does. Um, Usually I mean, if someone is going to go out of their way to bother to do a psychic attack, which takes a lot of energy,
Yeah.
they better be really invested in the person they're attacking because random people are not going to just, oh, well, I'm just going to psychically attack that person for no good reason because it takes a lot of energy to build that up.
Hmm.
And it takes focus, it takes concentration, and it takes a lot of emotion to want to psychically attack someone. And it takes a lot of I mean, anger, I'm sure, but hurt and frustration and all of those. But I don't think that most people are just randomly psychically attacking. I think that they're emotionally attached to whoever they're attacking if they're going to do it,
Okay.
you know? And also, you have to be open to receiving it, which is why I teach people to manage your own energy. Because if you're
You
just
need.
out there going, what is that? What is that? What is that? Everywhere,
Yeah.
someone has more of an opportunity to latch on to that energy, and you're more likely to pick up negative energy because you're out there looking for it, because you're in
Yeah.
defense mode.
Yeah. So can they do that without knowing they're doing it?
Well, people throw energy around all the time. Yeah. I mean, if somebody's throwing off angry energy just because they're angry and you're open to, let's say you're out there going, I have to protect myself. What's out there? What's out there? You're looking for something to protect yourself from. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So if so, person A is over here and they're throwing off angry energy, and person over here is like, oh my God, where is it? Where is it? I have to protect myself from it. You're actively looking for it. You're going to receive it.
Yeah. Mm. Yeah. Don't go looking for it.
Don't go
That's
looking for it. And the other thing is when we don't pull our energy field in, okay, you live on a country road. You're out in the country, right? It's a 2-lane road. Have you ever just been driving along and all of a sudden you're just mad? You're just angry and you don't know why you're angry? Or your feelings change, or all of a sudden you just feel sad or melancholy and you don't know why? It's
okay.
because somebody drove past you, you went through each other's energy fields, and you picked up what somebody in that other car was feeling.
Wow. Really? Well, I'm pretty darn perceptive then. What I'm gonna say.
But
Empathic.
I
My aura is way out there.
way
My
out
aura
there.
was in his car,
That's right. He drove right through your aura. Uh,
which is why you yelled at me for having my aura out there all the while.
right. Well,
Oh,
and the other thing too is, and I'm going to throw this out there because of personal experience. When you're driving your car, you don't want to pull your energy in any further than the outside of your car, because what you're doing is essentially making your car imperceptible to other people. That's how people use invisibility spells, which is something that's, I don't normally get into spells, but I know how to use that one because I travel a lot and I travel alone. And so when I don't want other people to perceive me, I pull my energy way in, and they don't have access to my energy. They don't perceive me. Now, if I'm in my car and I do that and I pull my energy all the way in,
oh, they can't see you.
they can't see me.
Oh, so apparently, I mean, as an aside,
Hmm.
not about the car, but I think I've been doing that personally for years.
Pulling your
Uh,
energy all the way in without thinking
yeah,
about it. Yeah.
yeah, and
Yeah.
becoming hypothetically invisible so nobody knows I was there. I
Yeah.
suspect that happened, being there were 6 children in my family, and I was number 5 out of 6. And the 4 above me, ahead of me were, I took copious amounts of notes of what not to do. So, you're sucking in your energy field so mom or dad couldn't see it or feel it. I became the disappearing child, or, you know,
Yeah.
the forgotten child, hypothetically. Someone said that to me once. I don't ever remember you being around. I'm like, I was there every single time.
Hmm.
Oh, well, gosh darn it, you're the forgotten child. I'm like, please don't say that. That's just mean.
Yeah, that's just mean. But if
Right.
you pull your energy in, that's a self-protective measure, and sometimes it's necessary. If you happen to be in a situation where you could get hurt physically,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know.
So do you think that pulling in your energy field and could that have an effect on um, like promotions at work? You're working really, really, really hard and nobody really notices that you're working really hard. You're
Right,
doing a really good job, and someone else gets the promotion and you don't.
right. That very well could be, because generally when that happens, it's a person who doesn't have a lot of confidence. It's someone who's bought into the idea that hard work will get you where you want to go and doesn't really understand, well, I'll just say office politics,
Yeah.
carrying yourself with confidence, carrying yourself,
Right.
like they don't want to be noticed, but they want to be promoted.
Okay.
And that
Yeah,
doesn't
that's
work.
valid. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That doesn't usually work because it's the people that get noticed that get promoted.
Right. But then there's being noticed or being overly confident and having people hate you because you're so
Right.
confident.
It's a delicate balance for sure.
Yeah.
It's a delicate balance.
I can attest to both of those, I
Yeah.
suspect.
Me
And
too.
I think I've worn a cloak of, disappearance for a long time.
The cloak of invisibility.
Hmm.
That's fine if you know how to use it.
Well, yeah, I
Know
don't know if I
when to use
not.
it. When to
Yeah,
use it. Yeah.
yeah. It's hmm, right.
Conscious
So
choice. Yeah. Go ahead.
what what do you know about everything is energy. Um,
Hmm.
Rocks, gems, nature, everything has an energy.
Hmm.
I've learned how to talk to trees, and
Hmm.
I was incredibly surprised one day when the tree that I was feeling the energy of was not nice. I was incredibly surprised about that because all the other ones were so sweet and so nice and so polite and friendly. And then I ran into this tree that was a grumpy old man, and I'm like, what the heck?
Hmm. That's interesting. I don't know. I would suspect that that tree has probably had some abuse.
Yeah, you
Maybe
don't know
it,
how.
well, I mean, people, especially, I'm
That.
sorry, little boys and sticks beat on trees. Okay, and sometimes it's the grown-up boys with the sticks that beat on trees and nail things into trees, um, and sometimes girls too. I shouldn't say it's just boys. Sometimes girls too,
Mm.
but it could be that that tree had some sort of a disease that you didn't know about. Um,
Was
yeah.
one part of this particular tree, it was a very large tree, and it had I don't know if obviously if it was a lightning strike or whatever, but part of the tree, the limb, was laying on the ground. And it
Hmm.
was, again, a sizable tree. And I could feel that it wasn't very, I could feel that it was sick. But
Yeah.
as I got much closer to it, then I felt that it was really, really not a happy place. But the other tree that I was talking with was right off of a path. It was in a park, and it was, again, a fairly sizable tree.
Hmm.
And he yelled at me, you humans, you think you can just go around touching everybody and everything, anything that you want to do. And I thought, I I am in error here. I guess I need to ask for permission when I
Hmm.
touch things.
Maybe
So
it wasn't a grumpy old man. Maybe it was just someone teaching you a lesson.
and came through by way of a grumpy old man.
Hmm. Could be.
Oh.
Or maybe he's just tired of being touched.
Well, those other trees that were touched were nice. They like the little old lady liked it. So
Well,
there.
some of them do like it, but it never hurts to ask permission. Like even when I'm doing a paranormal investigation, I
Yeah.
never enter into a location unless I ask permission of the spirits there first.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Um, what if somebody disagrees with you then? What do you do?
If somebody in my group disagrees with me or somebody or a spirit says no,
A spirit. Yeah. What do you do?
I leave.
The whole
If
thing? What if you have an event there? Or have you asked, you've gone to the venue first?
you mean
Ask
if
for,
I'm running the event, I always go to the venue first.
okay.
I always ask the spirits at the venue first. Like with the ones I have two more events coming up at the same hotel in Saranac Lake. Two more events this year. I always ask the spirits, can I do this? Is this okay? And if they'd said no, I wouldn't have done it.
Wow.
But
I
before
suppose.
I before I put money down on an event, I'm going to ask permission.
Yeah, that's a smart thing. I
Yeah.
agree. So you mentioned to me one time that before you go into a place,
Hmm.
that you clear the building.
Go into a place for what reason?
You're either staying there or, inhabiting it on some level, and that
Right.
you,
I don't clear the building for paranormal investigations. I ask permission. Because if I clear the building, what's the point of doing an investigation? There's nothing there now.
I think that's why I was stunned.
But like when I stay in a hotel, I get my room key, I go to the room before I bring anything into it, and I clear the room, I set the space for what I want the room to feel like, and then I go bring my things in.
Have you ever had trouble doing that? Any instances, any?
I'm trying to think recently, and God, I travel so much I don't even know where it was. Um, I thought I had cleared the space, and I don't think it was in a hotel. I feel like it was in a house, so probably an Airbnb or something. But even after clearing the space, a cat jumped up on the bed, like a spirit cat jumped up on the bed
Hmm,
when I was sleeping, curled around my feet and went to sleep.
apparently didn't
Didn't,
get the memo.
or it just didn't need to leave, you know, but I don't know. I mean, I found it comforting, so I was okay with it.
Mhm. That's pretty fascinating.
That used to happen a lot at the farm in Richfield when we lived
Oh,
out
really?
there. Yeah, we
Yeah,
there was a spirit cat in the house. Yeah.
that's not a bad thing,
No.
as long as it's not destructive.
No, it wasn't destructive. It would just jump up on the bed and sleep with me. Sometimes I would trip over it, you know how cats rub up against your leg or whatever.
Yeah.
I'd be like, stop that. But yeah,
I miss my cat. She was just so sweet, and I still hear her. She jumps up on the chair over here, and she used to walk across the desk and then lay down in front of me and, you know,
yeah,
be insistent on being pet.
yeah,
Yeah, animals are interesting, and I've thought about getting another cat. And since I'm traveling a lot, and I'm just you really have to want an animal. You have to
mhm,
be available, and um,
yeah.
you have to be around.
That's why I don't have animals. That's why I don't have pets because I'm not, I mean, I'm gone a lot.
Yeah.
So it's not fair to have an animal if I'm not there to take care of it and develop a relationship with it. And, it's just not fair.
Mhm.
So,
My last cat was very interesting, and she did well riding home with me. She came back from up north, and
mhm,
she was a kind of a feral cat, which I didn't think she'd be this bad, but she didn't do well in the house. But
okay.
even more than that, when she was in the house, I realized that she didn't really want me so much as she wanted she was a male type of, she loved males and she kind of glommed onto them. She didn't want anything to do with me. And so I was a little disappointed in that. But
Mm.
the day we let her out of the house because she was trashing everything, she jumped up on the roof and walked across the roof of the house.
Hmm.
First time she was outside. And of course, we have to get her down from there. I said, but no, she got up there and she knows how to get down. That's how
Hmm.
she got up.
Yeah.
The animals are not stupid. When they get
Mhm.
up in the tree, they'll come down.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So she was an interesting little thing and bit the end of her tail off, and because she couldn't detach from, she had a dissociation with her body.
Oh,
The cats will flop their tail, and and then she would play with her tail and then bit it because it was an aggressive move. And then she hurt herself and then decided that, when it would throb or whatever, then she would try to bite it again because it hurt, because she was angry, and it was a nonstop cycle. That was
oh, I
interesting.
remember that cat. Yeah.
She was that that kind of took care of my desire to have a cat. I don't want another one of those. And she was what I would call the Halloween cat, where she would just kind of, her back would arch and she'd jump up and down and weird things. And
Yeah.
never mind,
Yeah.
she can go outside.
Yeah. Some cats weren't meant to live inside.
Yeah, and I think because I brought her back from up north,
Hmm.
she was on a farm, and
Okay.
that was not one of the things she thought would happen. So anyway,
Yeah.
that was my last cat, and I don't want any more animals. I
Yeah.
have horses and dogs and cats and fish, and I'm good. I'm good just being me.
Me too.
Yeah,
Me too. Like I said, I'm not around enough to take care of an animal, and I stay in so many different places, like hotels and Airbnbs, and I don't want to have to look for one that will take animals if I take one traveling with me. I mean, if I had an RV and I was kind of living on the road, that would be different
yeah.
because that would be that animal's home. But yeah, right now it doesn't work in my life.
It's a lot of work. You have to find the right venue and the right people and the right place. And what if it gets lost? And
Mm-hmm.
what if you're out late? And it just presents a whole lot of different
Right.
scenario. So,
A lot of different scenarios that can go on there. So,
mhm.
yeah. And I don't live in fear. So I have no problem traveling alone.
Yeah, I think
You
that's
know?
really a big thing.
Yeah.
I, I do well when I'm in the car by myself. And again, my aura is always out there
Mm-hmm.
sensing stuff. And then there's that time. Well, what if that's really not it? What if you're misperceiving this? So trusting yourself is a big deal.
And I also have a very strong relationship with my spirit guides, and I trust that they're going to take care of me. It's part of my contract with the universe. They take care of me. I do the work they ask me to do, and they take care of me.
Well, that's fair enough.
Hmm.
So how do you meet up with your spirit guides?
I think that's a whole new episode.
I agree. No, I know I have them. I don't know that there's sometimes I feel them.
Hmm.
But again, I'm certainly not as close with my spirit guides as you are. Um, and yeah,
It's just a matter of developing the relationship. How do you develop a relationship with people? You reach out, you talk to them, you ask, say, hey, can we get together? Let's have breakfast.
I want eggs.
It's the same thing. You make a conscious effort to reach out and develop that relationship. And that's how you start getting more information from them, is that you are sharing yourself with them. It's really a two-way street. And yet they're there all the time. But if you want to feel them more, if you want to have more of a visceral experience with your spirit guides, that's on you.
Yeah, I suppose they won't they won't step in unless you ask.
They'll still guide.
Yeah.
You just might not get the messages often.
Apparently I have a communication breakdown
Yes.
occasionally.
Yes, Houston, we have a problem.
Right. And today seems to be a good day. So I'm listening.
I'm listening.
I
Yeah.
swear. I swear I heard you. I thought that's what you said. I didn't.
Well, a lot of times we listen to our spirit guides, we don't even know we're doing it. We just get this impulse to do something and we do it, and that's our spirit guides guiding us.
Mm. I have a lot of subconscious uh, miracles, so to speak.
Hmm.
We both practice being intuitive and all of that, and sometimes we know stuff, and other times it's like this big giant miracle shows up and it's like, I didn't know that, or I didn't hear that. Where did that come from?
And wow, that's cool. Thank you very much.
I sure do appreciate you.
Exactly.
Hmm.
Exactly. Wow. Another great episode. And another reminder, subscribe, hit the bell, get notifications. We have more great conversations coming up.
I look forward to that.
Me too. This is fun.
We,
We should have done this years ago.
we that would have been interesting. See, now we can talk about that. All those things. We did vow that there would be a few things that we could not talk about, and
Yes.
or
It
not could not, just should not,
just will not.
will not.
Will
Yeah,
not. Yes.
right.
Got to keep some stuff close, right?
Yeah, you got to keep people guessing, make them wonder
Mhm.
what you're up to.
And also just, the whole some things just need to be kept private.
Being polite, that's correct.
Yeah.
Because we are polite. Well,
Yes.
I sometimes,
Yeah.
sure.
Me too most of the time.
I try hard. Sometimes my inner self sort of goes the other way. I was paying attention.
I was. And I feel like, I mean, I'm in my mid 50s, you're in your mid 60s. And I feel like I have so much to learn from you because you have a few more years of experience than I do, right? So we have, and I feel like, I don't know, sometimes I feel like I've lived 1,000 lifetimes in the last 50 plus years, but at other times I love what you bring to the conversation because you bring things I never would have thought of.
Cool.
Yeah.
I still don't know what they are, and that's probably a good thing too.
And you might never know what they are, and that's okay.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. So, with that, I think we're a little over an hour here and we don't want to
Oh,
drag on too long, but I just wanted to say thank you so much for joining me in this adventure. And I am really looking forward to doing this more often.
this is going to be a blast, and we're both committed. So you never
Yeah.
know what's going to happen, and this is long overdue. So
Yeah.
we'll have fun doing it.
Yeah. And you never know what's going to pop out of our mouths. So that's
Well,
worth,
as you can tell by this conversation that went a different ways to Tuesday,
we zigzagged a lot.
we held it together pretty well.
Yeah.
I thought so.
All right. And leave comments, guys. Leave comments. If there's a topic that you would like us to talk about, put it in there. If we know something about it, we might say something about it.
Well, or we just make it up, you
Or we'll
know.
just make it up because all the shit's made
Yeah,
up anyway.
it is.
and, and on that note, have a great week and we'll see you next week.
Bye bye, everybody. Thanks.
Bye.